Hey foodies, welcome back to another collab with Caribe in the Jamaican palette. In this video, we will learn how to make a juicy, flavorful beef roast in the oven. So let's get started. Here's a list of fresh ingredients you'll need. Thyme, onion, garlic, and green onions. And I'm just using the chef knife from Caribe just to chop these up. You could chop them in big bits or small bits. We're just going to use all of these chopped aromatics to stuff the roast. Just add these to a bowl and set aside. When it comes to beef, you could choose any cut of choice. Top rump, bottom rump, ribeye. However, I prefer chuck roast. Chuck roast does have quite a bit of fat, but that's what makes this piece of meat so moist and fall apart tender. Here we're using roughly 3¼ pounds of chuck roast that I've pat dried. Be sure to check out the recipe card for the spices used. When it comes to seasoning your roast, anywhere between 12 to 36 hours is preferred because this is a large chunk of meat and it will take time for the seasoning to penetrate through it. I added some browning for color, but this is completely optional. You want to go ahead and start off by using roughly 3/4 of the seasoned mix to season the roast. Add the remaining 1/4 of the seasoned mix to the chopped aromatics, and you could use that to stuff the roast. You could make incisions anywhere along the roast and stuff that as well. You may want to use kitchen twine to tie your meat. This will help to keep the roast together because, as I mentioned, this piece of meat will be falling apart. Now you want to let your roast marinate for at least 12 hours before cooking. Now it's time to cook. We already preheated our oven, so now we're just adding some oil to our oven safe pot and we will sear this meat on all sides. So this should take roughly 1 to 2 minutes per side, maybe 1 minute per side. You just want to transfer this roast back to the pan and add your chopped aromatics. You could add more oil if need. Saute for about 1 to 2 minutes before adding your stock. So here I'm going in with chicken stock because that's what I had on hand. You just want to add the stock to the pot and allow it to come to a boil before adding in the roast. Cover and allow to bake at 375 for 3 hours or until tender. You could rotate your roast every 30 to 45 minutes, but it's not necessary. So this has been in the oven for roughly 3 hours now, and now it's done. It's fork tender. So we're just going to remove this and add this to a plate to allow to rest. And then we're going to work on cleaning up our gravy and making a nice sauce. To make the gravy, you want to start by removing the excess oil from the roast dripping. Taste and adjust as needed. I added water and some cornstarch slurry just to get it thick, and that was it for my gravy. And now it's time to serve the roast. So first we are going to remove just a few of these kitchen twines and begin slicing. You just want to be super cautious when you're cutting your roast. If it's too hot, you may want to use a fork to stabilize the roast and just slice through. And just as a precaution, this roast, as I mentioned, will be falling apart. So don't feel bad if your slices don't come out as perfect as you want it to be. Just serve this up on a platter with some of the gravy that we made, and that is it. Our roast is finally done. And for the final plating, here you have it, rice and peas with some slaw and avocado. And this was amazing. It was super moist and delicious, and the flavors, they just melt right in your mouth. Enjoy.